Hi everyone, and welcome to the first video that I'll be releasing. Today we're going to talk about exercises for foot and ankle conditioning, which is something that a few of you have asked for. So what I want to start off by saying is that what I notice in the injury clinic that I work at is when people go on break and then come back, and ramp up their dance activity really quickly, I tend to see a lot of reactive tendinopathies or tendinopathies, right? So that means pain in and around the tendon with activities like pointing, relevéing, and jumping. So the purpose of this is, again, to keep you dance ready and to keep your ankle and foot muscles in shape so that when you get back to dance, we won't see as many issues. You will see a lot of relevés, which is going to help you with obviously your relevés and your jumps and balances and turns and many other things. And I want to say that I am not going to be prescribing any sets and repetitions. Rather, I want you to be doing all the exercises until you are fatigued. And fatigue looks like either you can't do another repetition because you are just plain old tired, or you cannot do another repetition while maintaining good technique. So those two we're going to use as your ceiling cap for fatigue. The reason why we want to push to fatigue is because we want you to get better, and you can only get better with overload. So if you have questions, feel free to ask, and otherwise enjoy what I have planned for you.
The first two exercises are going to be for your foot intrinsic muscles. Take a TheraBand, loop it around your foot, and put it on your lateral four toes. So not your big toes, but the other ones. Flex your foot, bring the band back. And what I want you to do is keep your ankle flexed, keep your toes long, and bring your toes just to neutral. So I want you to be super careful that as you do this, you're not curling your toes to obtain this position that you see on the film. You're going to bring it to neutral and then slowly with control bring your toes back. And I want you to go until you feel burning in the foot or fatigue, like you can't do any more with proper technique. If your toes are curling too, make sure you let up a little bit on the TheraBand so that you can complete the exercise successfully. Next, you'll do the same thing, but now I want you to keep your ankle in a pointed position. So again, notice that I'm trying very hard to use control as I point my foot and then slowly bring the toes back. The whole time I'm keeping my toes super long and I'm not curling them under. And then I want you to go ahead and complete the exercise until you reach fatigue. The next set of exercises will be for your FHL, or your flexor hallucis longus, which is your long big toe pointing muscle. So you're going to keep the TheraBand in the same position, and you're going to loop it around your big toe. So similar to the other exercise, you'll start with your ankle flexed, pull your big toe back, and then you'll bring it to neutral, and slowly bring your big toe back. Bring it to neutral, and slowly bring your big toe back. So again, you're going to go to fatigue. And you can also see now that I'm keeping my little four toes long as I bring them to neutral. They looked like that under the TheraBand in the first set of exercises too. So you'll repeat the same thing in a pointed position. Note there that I did not control my big toe movement. So you want it to be super smooth as you go into point and then smooth as you come back. So I'm having a hard time controlling my big toe as I bring it back, which is something that I would want to work on. So after you've done this to fatigue, you can take a brief break, and then you can transition into the next exercise, which is full articulation of the ankle, coming up in just a second. So you can start by flexing the ankle, then you point the ankle, and then slowly point your toes and reverse the whole thing. So you'll point the ankle, point the toes, flex the toes, flex the ankle, and notice that I'm using nice control throughout the full thing. And there's no reason why you couldn't loop the TheraBand around all the muscles, all the toes at this point. Next, we're going to be doing a whole bunch of exercises for your calf muscles, which is very important. So lots of releves. So you'll start with a ball. If you have one, you're going to put it between your ankles, and you're going to just do straight releves. So as you rise up and down, I want you to make sure that you're squeezing the ball between your ankles and that the center of your ankle is over your second toe. So I'm going to show you from the side for a second, in just a moment. So I want you to notice that as I releve, I'm not rocking forward too much, but rather I'm really just rising straight up and going all the way down, which challenges my calf muscles more. So be very careful not to rock forward and then rock back as you come down. And you're going to take this to fatigue. The next exercise we're going to do is a simple single leg releve. Make sure you give yourself a little bit of a break between the first exercise and this one. And I find that a lot of our dancers can't do as many single leg releves as we would want them to. So our ideal would be to be able to do 25 single leg releves without getting too tired. Next, after this, we're going to do a forced arch releve, which instead of getting primarily your gastroc, gets your soleus muscle, which is super important for landing our jumps. So I want you to also do as many single leg releves and forced arch as you can on one leg. Make sure you give yourself enough rest between sets. All right, lastly, we're going to work on a little bit of balance and proprioception exercises. So you'll start with 2 feet on the ground, and I really want you to think about the tripod of your foot anchored into the ground as you shift your weight onto one leg, making sure your knees stays relatively straight ahead and that your arch doesn't collapse. And you're going to use the other leg to just kick front and back and front and back. So the other thing I'm looking for on the standing leg, besides making sure the arch doesn't collapse and the knee stays relatively straight ahead, is that your toes don't start to grip the ground. If they start to grip the ground, then I want you to slow down the movement of your other leg until you can maintain feet flat on the ground. You can also try this exercise on, I have a nice RX pad, but I'm sure many of you don't have that at home. You can use a couch cushion instead or a pillow. And you can either do the same exercise as before, or you can do little plies with a little bit of like a fondue en croix. I'm looking for this same kind of thing. Tripod in the ground, knee staying relatively straight ahead, arch is not collapsing, and toes are not gripping the ground. So to recap all of those exercises, the first exercises are for intrinsic muscles. First, your little 4 toes in flexed, then your little 4 toes in a pointed position, then your big toe in a flexed position, then your big toe in a pointed position, and then you can take that all the way through foot articulation. Then we go to calf exercises, such as our releves with the ball, and then our single leg releve with our knee straight, followed by single leg releves in a forced arch position. And then we go to balance exercises. So kicking leg front and side, and then standing on an unstable surface and doing the same thing. So things to remember. I want you to perform the exercises to fatigue on both sides. And also, none of these exercises should hurt. If they do, please stop. If you have any questions, shoot me an email and let's chat about it. Okay, hope you enjoyed. Thanks.